Alright, so in this video we're going to investigate lines, rays, and segments. And the way we're going to do that is looking and see if any of these things are equal. So let's look at the first problem here. It asks us to say, is line AB equivalent or equal to line BA? So we have to understand what a line is. A line is something that passes through the points mentioned, so points A and B, and continues on in both directions forever. So line AB refers to this area that goes through AB and goes on forever in both directions. And that's line AB. Now line BA is the area that passes through points B and A and goes the same in each direction. So point B and point A, both directions, same way. So if you look, these are the same area, it's just a different way of naming the same line. So these are the same. By definition, line AB and line BA both refer to the same areas. Now let's start over and look at some other ones. That was the first problem. Now we're going to look at line BC. So line BC looks at point B and point C, connect the dots, and go each way in all forever. Go both directions forever. So that is line BC. And line DB, take point D, point B, connect the dots, and go both directions forever. So once again, these both refer to the same line. So those are the same thing, and those are both the same object. So now let's talk about rays. Rays are one-dimensional figures that have an endpoint in one direction, but then go on forever in the other direction. So if we look at this first ray, ray BC, the first letter always tells you sort of the starting point. So the ray begins, if you want to think of it, as point B, and travels through C and continues on forever in that direction. So this is ray BC. Think of aliens, a ray gun. They fire at point C and it keeps going forever in that direction. So that is ray BC. On the other hand, ray CB starts at point C and goes towards B forever in that direction. So as we can see here, these are different things. One starts at B and goes to the right, one starts at C and goes to the left, so they're not the same. So we can say they're not equivalent. All right, now we're going to move on to these next two rays. So this first ray is the same one we already talked about, ray BC. Starts at B, goes through C and forever that way. So that's ray BC. Now ray BD starts at point B, goes to D, and goes this way. So these are both the same ray, they just have slightly different names. They're the same. So that is how rays work. Now moving on to segments. A segment is something that does not go on. It's one dimension. It does not go on forever in each way. It has endpoints on both ends. So segment CD starts at C, if you want to think of it that way, and goes to D, and that's it. That's segment CD. Segment DC, we can say starts at point D, ends at point C. So these are the same segment, just labeled a slightly different way. And finally, segment AC starts at point A and is done at point C, and segment BC starts at point B, goes to point C. Clearly they're different. So I think this is an instructive way to think about rays, lines, and segments. And so try a few problems like this and hopefully you have a pretty good grasp of how these work. So until next time, I am Derek Genova. Have a delightful day.